No two persons with the same disability has similar requirements.
How does adaptive clothing design factor in independence, not just comfort?
Multiply is known for the garments which gives them comfort, confidence, independence with dignity. We made one shirt for a young adult with autism with vision loss. Okay, so we ensure that that particular design has a tactile output. Okay, so he can feel the design since he will not be able to see it properly. In case of intellectual disability, we try to give a lot of visual clues, or maybe a button here or a sticker here. Okay, so let's say a sticker here, his favorite cartoon sticker, to ensure that this is the right sleeve. We ensure we take a lot of feedback. Many times it has happened that we made something based on our the feedback. We made it and then realized that it doesn't work for him. So again, we went back to the drawing board. We designed something different from what we already supplied and then give it to them, and it makes a lot of sense for them as well.
What if the reason your child can't sit through a single class isn't attention or behavior, but a label that keeps rubbing against their neck all day, every day? For thousands of autistic children and adults in India, clothing isn't a style choice, it's a sensory event, one that can either regulate or quietly exhaust them before the day has even begun. Welcome to today's episode of the India Autism Center podcast. Today, we are going to ask a question that rarely gets involved in autism conversations. What does it actually take to design a garment an autistic body can wear without a fight? I'm your host, Reek Chakraborty, and today we have Mr. Mehul Pancholi.
Thank you.
He's the co-founder of Multifly Lifestyle Private Limited, which has two brands, Inexclusive and Sensoru. These are brands building adaptive clothing for persons with disabilities, the elderly, and patients. He's a textile engineer and a graduate from the National Institute of Fashion Technology, and in 2024, he was named an Inclusion Fellow by the India Inclusion Foundation. He has over 25 years of experience in the fashion industry. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for having me here, and looking forward for our conversation.
Sure, likewise. So, for our first question, for someone who has never experienced it, can you explain in plain terms what's actually happening when a seam or a label feels unbearable to an autistic child? Is this a preference or is something physiological going on?
It can be both. Okay, what happens is that labels, when we make it, it might not be soft enough, and it can give some sensory challenges to the child. Even seams, if they are not designed properly with considering the proper fabrics, it might be challenging to children with sensory aversion behavior. Okay,
Right.
so autism is a spectrum, and then some of them would have sensory aversion behavior as well.
Yes.
So touch can be a sensation which will trigger a behavior, and all this, whatever you have said,
Yeah.
a label or a seam or even a rough fabric, can actually disturb them as well. So yeah, so that's what I want to say.
Right, right. When you're choosing a fabric for a garment meant for an autistic individual, what actually makes the cut? Like, what gets rejected immediately? Are there fabrics the industry uses by default that you have had to walk away from entirely?
Yeah, so Rick, I just want to add it is that we even make therapy tools for autism or
Right.
ASD and ADHD, and along with adaptive clothing solutions. So in terms of therapy tools, so we ensure that the fabrics can take weights enough for that particular product,
Right.
like a weighted jacket. The comfort cocoon is soft enough, but it is flexible enough. Okay, and we ensure most of the time we see that we use only natural fabrics, because children with autism or children with disability can have other sensitive skin as well.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
and I don't want them to suffer because of maybe an artificial fabric, a polyester or a nylon, or even anything else apart from a natural fabric, because natural fabrics are breathable and it absorbs perspiration well. So we typically use only natural fabrics. I try to avoid polyester, except for a four-way lycra fabric. It is used for a very functional aspect of a therapy tool. That's where only we use anything apart from a natural fabric.
Before we continue, here's a quick look at who we are at the India Autism Center.
Imagine a space designed not just to care for individuals with autism, but to empower them. A place where knowledge grows, support flourishes, and possibilities expand. This is India Autism Center. It is built to redefine how we approach autism. Through education, research, and community-driven initiatives, we create an environment where individuals with autism can thrive. Samavesh, our residential campus, is designed for individuals with autism to live, learn, and grow with dignity and independence. It is more than just a place to stay. It is a space to belong. Manan, our training academy, prepares professionals to provide specialized care. Through structured programs, we equip individuals with the skills to support neurodivergent communities with confidence and compassion. Khoj, our research division, is dedicated to advancing our understanding of autism. Through data-driven studies and collaborative research, we work towards shaping the future of neurodiversity.
So, beyond fabric, construction matters.
Yeah.
Seams, tags, labels,
Yes.
fasteners.
Yeah.
So, just walk us through the specific design choices like flat lock seams, tagless labels, magnetic or Velcro closures
Yeah.
that change whether a garment is wearable or not for autistic individuals.
Yes. So what we consider here is that as far as possible, we try to minimize the seams.
Okay.
We call it pattern engineering. Okay, so we
Right.
use a lot of pattern engineering. My experience in this field for about 25 years. I have a team of technical people where we see that as far as possible we minimize the thickness of the seam or we try to avoid it. Regarding the closures, yeah, so we try to use closures based on the ability of the person. Okay, so we ensure that we talk to the user, we talk to the caregivers, especially the family members, and then try to or special educators,
Right.
and then try to understand the behavior challenges, and based on that, apart from that, they would have let's say we work with autism as well as other disabilities. There can be spasticity issues also, a posture which is slightly different from a normal child. So we consider all this and then we put in our pattern engineering experience and different kind of closures. We can use velcros, or instead of velcros we use a snap tape also. It functions as good as velcro, but it is softer.
Okay.
We use magnets where there is fine motor challenges, yeah, and we also use many times tactile as an indicator. Okay, as for example, we made one shirt for a young adult with autism with vision loss. Okay, so we ensure that that particular design has a tactile output. Okay, so he can feel the design since he will not be able to see it properly.
Right.
Yeah, we gave indicators to them of what is a right sleeve against a left sleeve, what is a proper collar. Okay, so he doesn't make no mistake in wearing a garment and again lead to independence.
Right. So, coming to our next question, no two autistic individuals have the same sensory profile.
Exactly.
So, one child seeks tight,
Yeah.
compressive clothing, another can't tolerate anything snug.
Yeah.
So, how do you design for a population whose needs genuinely point in different directions rather than designing for autism as if it's one thing?
So we learned a hard lesson. Okay, when we launched our products in Purple Fest in 2024, that no two persons with the same disability has similar requirements.
Right.
Yeah, and we made products across disability in the specs which I believe will work on them. Okay, and then realized no, it doesn't work like that, and we failed miserably. Okay, that was a big learning turning point, that if at all we have to design our products, if Multiply would be famous for, it will be famous for a customized adaptive clothing solution. Okay, now coming back to your question, okay, but like a person who likes a snug fit or a person versus person who like a relaxed fit. See, each one of us has this particular way of dressing ourselves.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
nothing different to a person with disability, but only thing is that just to take care of the sensory challenges,
Yeah.
okay, we ensure that something which gives them a lot of breathability, okay, less of rubbing points, okay, that would help. Again, as I said in previously also, that we consult and take insights from the caregivers,
Right.
and also look at the preference of people. Okay,
Yeah.
what we say is that Multiply is known for the garments which gives them comfort, confidence, independence with dignity. Okay, so all considering all this, we ensure we take a lot of feedback. Okay, and we do iterations also. Okay, many times it has happened that we made something based on our the feedback, we made it and then realized that it doesn't work for him. So again, we went back to the drawing board, we designed something different from what we already supplied, and then give it to them, and it makes a lot of sense for them as well.
We would also like to hear from you. Has adaptive clothing made a real difference in your lives as well? Share your experience in the comments below. So, coming to our next question, there's a bigger question underneath this: independence and dignity.
Yeah.
As autistic children grow into autistic adults, dressing themselves without help, without a meltdown, without depending on someone else becomes a marker of autonomy.
Yeah.
So, how does adaptive clothing design factor in independence, not just comfort?
Okay, so most of the time, autism also comes with one more additional disability. Okay, it can be, as I said in the previous example, vision loss. It can be the club with CP also. Someone would have uh, intellectual disability, or it can be something else, or maybe he's not able to lift his hand. Okay, so it is very individualized approach. Okay, as I've been telling that no, we actually consult, we look at the person, we try to study his or her posture, talk to the caregivers as well. Uh, so in case of intellectual disability, we try to give a lot of visual clues.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, with in tape of in terms of maybe a button here or a sticker here. Okay, so let's say a sticker here is his favorite cartoon sticker to ensure that this is the right sleeve. Okay, or a collar or a contrast collar. Okay, so we give them a lot of visual clues. Again, a choice of closures. It can be a magnetic button, a velcro, a snap tap, based on the ability of closing it easily,
Yeah.
or difficulty, whatever he wants to. And in case of certain behavioral issues, as for example, in one of our products, so we got a feedback from the therapist
Okay.
that as they grow old, they have a tendency to seek sensations. And one of the behavior is that they try to touch their private parts. Okay, even if they are wearing a diaper, they'll just put their hands inside, because it gives you sensation. Okay, can we avoid that? So we made a jumpsuit which opens from the back. Okay, so the first thing is that he'll not be able to wear, put his hands inside, and we covered the front part or the private part with lot of padding. So even if he try to touch his or her private parts and try to feel the sensation, it will not go through. Okay, so all those small things which is very important. It might not give them independence immediately, but it will try to change the behavior. Okay, on the other side, we have products for self-destructive people or children or young adults. They try to bite their bodies. Okay, and there is, we have seen it often. So we make sensory sleeves or sensory safety sleeves which covers their hands and arm up till here. So even if they bite, and it's a very thicker fabric, even if they bite also, it doesn't penetrate your skin.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, it's also ensuring that we try to see if they can change the behavior. Okay, so that if it is done in very early stage, I think when they grow up, it's easy for the parent, or it becomes at least not so worrisome for the
Right.
parents. Yeah. So that's also independence aspect, because again you have to every time you have to indulge into one particular or avoid a particular behavior.
Right.
Just try to see what is the balancing act in this. So designing, yes, we all take care of all these aspects when we design. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we also try to use very soft fabric. In some cases, we give plant-based antimicrobial treatment.
Okay.
Okay, so the bacteria formation is not there. Hygiene is being taken care of.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and let's say if they have a drooling behavior, we ensure that the designs are such that there is a floating bib which will take the saliva, okay, and not penetrate to the fabric beneath or a normal garment, and it is matching. Okay, so you don't really realize that he is wearing, or he or she is wearing a bib. Okay.
Right. Right.
So all these things. Oh, and one more thing is that we try to do a repellent kind of a finish,
Okay.
or stain release or stain repellent finish, because they might spoil their shirts
Yeah.
easily, and a stain release will help them wash it, and it is stain free, and the life is longer for the particular product. So all these things, but case to case basis.
Okay. Okay. So we are coming to our last question.
Yeah.
You have spent years now designing for bodies and sensory systems that aren't your own.
Yeah.
Sitting with families, listening to what a fabric does to an autistic child or adult before you even cut a pattern.
Yeah.
So, what has that process taught you about autism itself
Yeah.
that you didn't understand before you started this work?
In fact, when we got into this, in fact, it's a long journey. It's about 12 years that we met Sharbani. She runs a school for autism, Bubble Center for Autism in Bangalore.
Right.
And we started volunteering over there.
Okay.
We never thought of getting into this space. Okay? I was happy in my corporate life, making products for big brands in India. And then somehow we started going there, we started understanding, and then I also did a training program for their interns. So I used to teach them digital design. Okay, so they have a school for autism and the vocational training center. So we dedicated some time, understanding. So it was, so we started with an icebreaker, okay, to understand them, and then that's where know what they like, what they don't like, okay, and everyone's specific needs. Okay, so that was the premise, and then we started working on it unknowingly, knowing everything about autism. Okay.
Okay.
And then moving to other disability. Brinda, the founder, co-founder, she's very she's part of the team of the Bubbles, and our interaction with parents also increased, because we used to attend those functions like Independence Day, Holi, Diwali, etc. Okay, so that's where we interacted with them and then gained a lot of insights. Now all this helped us in ensuring that when we do product development, it addressed to the functional and aesthetic aspect of the design.
Yes.
Okay, our first product was a freedom pant, where we were given a challenge that a young adult with autism is averse to wearing innerwear. Okay, maybe sensory overload for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we designed was, and he was quite comfortable wearing a track pant. So we designed, we call it as freedom pants, which in which there is a the trunk is fused with the track pant. Okay, in the same color and same hand feel. It's slightly finer fabric, soft fabric with 100%, 95% cotton and lycra, 5% lycra, and no labels. Okay, just to ensure that it doesn't itch or gives them sensory overload, and the innerwear is of the same fabric and same hand feel. So for him, it's wearing two garments without even wearing two garments. Okay, it's freedom of wearing two garments by one garment, and that is why we call it freedom pants. So that was our starting point. But having said that, we have designed hoodies, like sensory hoodies, to take care of their sensory challenges when they travel by air,
Yeah.
A lot of exposure to sound, people,
Right.
lights, sometimes smell also, okay, and touch. Okay, so all those things have been captured in that particular product, so that the parents are worry free.
So, thank you for sharing your experience. It was great knowing about so many things regarding garments, regarding inclusive clothing, and the whole subject altogether. Today's conversation reminds us of something simple but easy to overlook. Comfort isn't a luxury
Yep.
for a sensory sensitive body. It's the difference between a day spent regulated and a day spent surviving. So, a huge thanks to Mr. Mehul Pancholi for
Thanks, sir.
bringing his engineering and design expertise to a conversation that so rarely includes it. So, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Was
thanks,
a-
Rick, and thanks, India Autism Center team.
Thank you so much. And before we wrap up, we have our ADL worksheets for free on our website. Do check them out. It's there on the link in the description below. Thank you for joining us. You can check out the video pop up on your screen.